Well, the season has come to an end. We'll spend some time at a deer camp.
The guys that come up to the deer camp here are all military vets.
Check out a really nice buck. Kristen talked with some successful hunters at Kurt's Corner. And what the heck is rut dust? Stick around, that's all tonight, right here on Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
For most I've talked to, this year's hunting season seems to have been pretty slow. Not the case for Steve Yonke, one of the originators of the mighty deer lick block. I met up with Steve at his house south of Powers shortly after he shot this beautiful 9-pointer. It was kind of a special visit for me, since this is where I first met Buck nearly 8 years ago when I started filling in for him on Discovering.
I've been watching this buck for 3 days now, and he's been chasing does, and I saw him out at 300 yards. I saw him cross the field at 160 yards. And he finally came in, he came in running, and after a doe, and he stopped briefly, and he was just turning, and I took him. So, got him right through the heart, and he's just a super fine buck, a perfect example of a mighty deer lick deer, And it just goes to show, from having a supplement available year-round, that we can grow big bucks. Yeah, this is the UP, and this is our favorite time of year. And I couldn't ask for a better crowd of people to be around, It's, I'm real excited, very pleased, and thanks be to God. As you know, Cody is running the operation now, and he's been after this buck, and he's hunted hard for this buck, and I was really hoping he would get this buck, because he has put in the hours for him.
I had the chance to talk with Cody a bit about this buck and how he got to be a beautiful 9-pointer.
We let him go last year. We've had some trail cam pictures as a 2-year-old. Last year as a 3-year-old, he was around the farm a lot. We had a lot of pictures of him throughout the year, licking on the mighty deer lick blocks. And then we all agreed to let him walk last year, and he turned into this. It's pretty cool to be able to see that the UP can produce these kind of bucks. And we actually found his shed last year. As a 3-year-old, we believe. That's pretty cool. He had a split brow tine here. And it's pretty amazing to see what 1 year can do with the appropriate minerals, vitamins, the appropriate food, and just age. I was hunting him pretty hard for bow season. Pretty cool to see how the deer kind of react in an area, living in the cedar swamps, up into the rut, and where they're moving to and why they're doing it, and the different doe pockets they're trying to find. But it was a chase for him. I only saw him once during the day, November 14th in my bow stand. He's about 70 yards away, and he was chasing a doe. He came flying out in the field behind a doe, stopped, sniffed, turned right back around, walked into the swamp. So once you start getting to these older class deer, they act differently. But it's cool to watch that because it's something that you really don't see often. The biggest thing is we just sometimes let these 2.5-year-old age class bucks go. That's just something what we kind of want to do on the farm. It's not for everybody, but it's pretty cool to see what kind of comes out of that. everyone can do it. Everyone can go and, it's simple. Sprinkle some rye, sprinkle some clover. There's a lot of things available for us here in the UP just to do little things on your property, or just simply put a block out. At the end of the day, you're helping the wildlife, you're helping the deer, and sometimes it helps you be a more successful hunter. This wasn't the only deer that we were watching over the past few years. We actually had a 5-year-old 10-pointer that I found the sheds off last year. We've been watching for 3 years, but the neighbor got him this year during bow season, and it's pretty beautiful. It's an awesome buck. I think as Yoopers, we all share the same hunting culture. We're all excited about deer hunting. So to be able to share that with others and then have those be your neighbors, and just to create a bigger hunting camp, all be on the same page, or just make friends. I think that's what hunting's about, and sharing that with others really makes it a lot more fun than doing it by yourself sometimes. So he got that buck this year, but I found the shed last year of that deer, and again, we let him walk last year. We all made that commitment, and he's a really, really beautiful 10-pointer. So.
November 15th, one of the most exciting days of the year for many a Yooper. I found myself with the day off work, a first for me in many years. With no filming adventures to keep me away from my deer blind, I was off to go hunting. The first action after daylight was a spikehorn and a doe. They became a couple regulars over the next week. Opening day produced quite a few more does as I watched the snow fall. As the snow settled in, so did my desire to get my buck this year, and I made the determination I was going to hunt a few hours every day until I did. After day 7, my corn bin was looking a little on the low side, so off to Fred's East Branch Outfitters in Kenton. Inside Fred's, I found a brand new hunting product on the market made right here in the UP and its creator.
My name is Stephen Armati, and I'm from Gwin, Michigan, with my wife, Rebecca Armati, and we've came up with a new buck lure called Rut Dust. We've been successful 100% of drawing bucks to the scrape that we put it on since we started using this. Either you apply this to a mock scrape that you'd made above or below a laking branch, or you put it on a natural scrape, just 3 to 4 shakes, and 7 days we recommend freshening it up. But 3 to 4 shakes once, and then one time after that, and you should be good to go. So we had come up with an idea and ran with it about 4 years ago, and we've been testing it. At the end of this season, or this deer season, will be 4 complete seasons. So after a couple successful hunts earlier this fall, we came back and my wife made me put it to market up here and get it out to everybody else so they can appreciate what we did. Shout out to my Uncle Pat, God bless him. He's no longer with us. He kind of turned me on to the idea of this. and we refined it. There's no chemicals, no synthetics. It's 100% natural. It comes from the woods when we know it's time, to our house, to this bottle, and then to you guys. It just hit the shelves on, I think the 18th was the first day we put it in. Wilderness Sports was the first to have it. Rock IGA has it, Rapid River Mini Mart has it, and now Fred's EBO, East Branch Outfitters, has it, along with Crystal Falls. There's a sporting goods shop in Crystal Falls, and Lucky Sporting Goods in just outside Ironwood has it too. There's a Rut Dust page on Facebook. Website is under works right now as well. And so you can either go to your local person or follow us on Facebook at Rut Dust and get a hold of us, and we can send you out a bottle if you can't get to the store.
After a week of unsuccessful hunting, I wanted to see a buck, any buck bigger than a spike horn, even if it was someone else's. So I took a ride to Kurt's Corner in Elo, a reporting station for the local radio buck poll, and where they have their own buck contest every year with lots of prizes to give away. I didn't see a sign for the town of Elo, but it's right about here.
We're really in the middle of nowhere. My mom always says that we're putting Elo back on the map. Usually every year we do Y101. It's the Deer Hunters Roundup. We've been doing that for a few years. But we have our own giveaway actually too. We give away a muzzle loader every year. And she doesn't go by the heaviest or the biggest rack, because she said everybody does hunt the same. Everybody puts in their own effort. So first one out, December 1st, gets the muzzle loader with a lot of other stuff, so it gives everybody more incentive to bring their deer here. I'm gonna expect maybe we'll hopefully hit 160 for weigh-ins this year. Well, last year we had 146, I believe, at the end of the season. And this year we're about 78 with a day left of the first week. So we're about over the halfway mark from last year, which last year our number was probably like record breaking that we've had.
Well, I got him last night, but basically there I was minding my own business in my sniper shack, and this guy came kind of clipping across pretty fast. I got like probably a 10-foot shooting lane and then like another 15-foot shooting lane. And he wasn't chasing a doe, and he didn't appear to be getting chased by a bigger buck. So I'm not really sure why he was clipping through so fast. But he came whipping through, and I threw up the iron, and it looked good enough to send one flying, and that's how he went. He didn't go 20.
I got a 6-point. I was sitting in my stand this morning for 3 hours and never saw a deer, so I went out walking, and lo and behold, I saw a doe, so I stopped and just watched her, and this bad boy came with his nose on the ground running after her, and he stopped behind a couple trees so I couldn't get a shot, and stayed there for about 5 minutes, and I was thinking, if he sticks his neck out, I'm going to shoot him because he's about to run. But he took one step out, and I got a perfect shot right behind the front shoulder. And he went about 40 yards and plopped over. He was about 18 1/4 inside spread.
I only got to see a few bucks in Elo. That's my luck. The following day, Patty weighed in 22. Check out the Kurt's Corner Facebook page to see every buck reported by them. Even though I still don't have my buck, I enjoy watching the weather and forest change. The snow fall, melt, freeze, thaw, snow some more. I enjoy watching the deer, recognizing the same ones and watching them meander through the trees. I enjoy the solitude, the peaceful sounds of nature. Any day hunting beats a day working. And for the ability to spend this much time in the woods this year, I'm grateful.
left my blind last night, and as I was walking up, it was really windy, and I looked up about 50 yards. I seen him standing there and seen him pick up his head and shot freehand in the wind. So shocked I hit him. So
I had both the honor and the pleasure of spending some time at a deer camp where all of the hunters either have served or are currently serving in the military.
The guys that come up to the deer camp here are all military vets. So whether they're serving still or retired like myself. So it makes for great camaraderie, and everybody has a lot of respect for that. And my dad is retired Chief Master Sergeant out of the Air Force. So he's the one that, him and I built this camp. So he turned it over to me, and keeping the legacy going. My son's now in the Army. He's been in for 4 years now, and so this will be turned over to him. So there's 3 years or 3 generations of servicemen that'll own this camp. Our camp's been here since 1980. The property that the camp is on right now has been in our family name for over 100 years. So it's got a lot of history behind it. A lot of deer, a lot of hunters have come through here, through our family. The logs actually came from K.I. Sawyer up north, and my dad owned 40 acres up there. He cut them and brought them down here, had them peeled, and we built the camp. So, and as a kid, it was really interesting to have fun doing that. This 1980 with the question mark on it up here was because my dad sighted my gun in for me. I go out to the blind. That buck come within about 20 yards of me. I shot for the white patch in his neck and missed. He ran away. I shot him 2 more times, which I thought missed. It was all my fault. Went back to camp that I missed a deer that close. He ran through a box of shells, found out that the scope was loose. So gave me my gun back. Of course, I got to go back to school. Got to go to school. He comes home with the deer in the back of the truck a couple days later. You can't mistake in that when it's only 15, 20 yards from you. So that's why there's a question mark on it. So who shot the deer? Was it the old man or was it me? My son shot a nice buck, and generally we don't do anything with the neck roast because it's kind of got a lot of fat and whatnot in it. And so I decided to take a little bit of time and take the fat off and make some jerky out of it. Turns out pretty good. Dad also built a nice sauna out of some cedar that he cut from this property here, and we got some rocks on there, got the hot water. It's a nice place to get cleaned up when you're at deer camp. We make maple syrup here. We got a nice ridge of maples, put about 250 to 300 pails. So we do that every couple of years. Deer season was not as productive as we'd wanted, but we'd seen plenty of game camera photos, of nice bucks out here, but you can't hunt at night, I guess. Yeah, try one. Well, deer camp to myself and the guys that come up here is all about having a good time, playing cards, eating good food. That's very important. We don't have Pop-Tarts for breakfast. We have full-scale breakfasts every morning. We make sure to get up extra early for that. Put a nice warm meal and some coffee in somebody, get them out in the hunting blind. It's a great place to sleep. So yeah, lunches and dinners are the same. So. We just enjoy coming up here, playing cards, the camaraderie, and every once in a while we'll get interrupted by deer hunting, which is fun too. I look forward to this every year, and part of my getting married was explaining to my wife that there's going to be a certain geographical location that I will be at on the 15th of November every year despite what's going on. So, and that's been true since we've been married almost 30 years. So Yep, a lot of fun.
Well, that's it for this week. Be sure to check out 906outdoors.com, where you'll find the 906 Fishing Report, TV6 weather, shopping, and more. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week, right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.